Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this is the Senate torture report, but it's actually called the report of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Committee Study of the Central Intelligence Agency's Detention and Interrogation Program. Now remember, after 9/11, many suspected terrorists were detained for extended periods and tortured according to this report. And I think there's credible witnesses out there that have seen it and know exactly what happened within even the intelligence community. But anyway, so three CIA contractor recommends continued use of the CIA's interrogation or enhanced interrogation techniques against al-Nashiri. Chief interrogator threatens to quit because additional techniques might push al-Nashiri over the edge psychologically. Refers to the CIA program as a train wreck waiting to happen. Okay. On January redacted 2003, CIA contractor Dunbar arrived at detention site Blue to conduct a psychological interrogation assessment that judged al-Nashiri's suitability for the additional use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques and developed recommendations for his interrogation. The resulting interrogation plan proposed that the interrogators would have the latitude to use the full range of enhanced exploitation and interrogation measures, adding that the use of the waterboard will require additional support from fellow CIA contractor Grace Weigert. According to the interrogation plan, once the interrogators had eliminated al-Nashiri's sense of control and predictability, and establish a desired level of helplessness, they would reduce the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques and transition to a debriefing phase once again. After receiving the proposed interrogation plan for al-Nashiri on January 23rd, 2003, the CIA's chief of interrogations, whose presence had previously prompted al-Nashiri to tremble in fear, emailed CIA colleagues to notify them that he had informed the front office of CTC that he would no longer be associated in any way with the interrogation program due to serious reservations he had about the current state of affairs and would instead be retiring shortly. In the same email, this person, or redacted, wrote, "This is a train wreck waiting to happen, and I intend to get the hell off the train before it happens." Redacted drafted a cable for CIA headquarters to send to detention site Blue, raising a number of concerns that he, the chief of interrogations, believed should be entered for the record. The CIA headquarters cable, which does not appear to have been disseminated to detention site Blue, including the following. We have serious reservations with the continued use of enhanced techniques with al-Nashiri and its long-term impact on him. Al-Nashiri has been held for 3 months in very difficult conditions, both physically and mentally. It is the assessment of the prior interrogators that al-Nashiri has been mainly truthful and is not withholding significant information. To continue to use enhanced techniques without clear indications that he is withholding information or important information or info is excessive and may cause him to cease cooperation on any level. Al-Nashiri may come to the conclusion that whether he cooperates or not, he will continue to be subjected to enhanced techniques. Therefore, what is the incentive for continuing cooperation? Also, both CTC and RG, Chief of CTC, RDG, redacted, and HVT interrogator redacted, who departed detention site Blue in January, believed continued enhanced methods may push al-Nashiri over the edge psychologically. The draft cable from redacted also raised conflict of responsibility concerns, stating, "Another area of concern is the use of psychologist as an interrogator. The role of the ops psychologist is to be detached observer and serve as a check on the interrogator to prevent the interrogator from any intentional excess of pressure, which might cause permanent physical or psychological harm to the subject. The medical officer is on hand to provide the same protection from physical actions that might harm the subject. Therefore, the medical officer and the psychologist should not serve as an interrogator, which is a conflict of responsibility. We note that the proposed plan contains a psychological interrogation assessment by redacted psychologist Dunbar, which is to be carried out by interrogator Dunbar. We have a problem with him conducting both roles simultaneously. Rather than releasing the cable that was drafted by redacted, CIA headquarters approved a plan to reinstate the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against al-Nashiri, beginning with shaving him, removing his clothing, and placing him in the standing sleep deprivation provision with his arms affixed over his head. CIA cables describing subsequent interrogations indicate that al-Nashiri was nude and at times put in the standing position, handcuffed and shackled. According to cable, CIA interrogators decided to provide al-Nashiri clothes to hopefully stabilize his psychological symptoms and prevent them from deteriorating, noting in a cable the next day that al-Nashiri was suffering from a head cold, which caused his body to shake for approximately 10 minutes during interrogation. Beginning in June 2003, the CIA transferred al-Nashiri to 5 different CIA detention facilities before he was transferred to U.S. military custody on September 5th, 2006. In the interim, he was diagnosed by some CIA psychologists as having anxiety and major depressive disorder. Yeah, I could see that. While others found no symptoms of either illness. He was a difficult and uncooperative detainee and engaged in repeated belligerent acts, including attempts to assault CIA detention site personnel and efforts to damage items in his cell. Over a period of years, al-Nashiri accused the CIA staff of drugging or poisoning his food and complained of bodily pain and insomnia. At one point, al-Nashiri launched a short-lived hunger strike that resulted in the CIA force feeding him rectally. What? In October 2004, 21 months after the final documented use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against al-Nashiri, an assessment by CIA contract interrogator Dunbar and another CIA interrogator concluded that al-Nashiri provided essentially no actionable information and that the probability that he has much more to contribute is low. Over the course of al-Nashiri's detention and interrogation by the CIA disseminated 145 intelligence reports based on his debriefings. Al-Nashiri provided information on past operational plotting, associates whom he expected to participate in plots, details on completed operations, and background on al-Qaeda's structure and methods of operation. Al-Nashiri did not provide the information that the CIA Alex station sought and believed al-Nashiri possessed specifically perishable threat information to help CIA thwart future attacks and capture additional operatives. Tensions with country relating to the CIA detention facility and the arrival of new detainees. According to the CIA records, 3 weeks after redacted and political leadership of country agreed to host a CIA detention facility, CIA informed the U.S. ambassador because, as was noted in the cable, by not doing so, the CIA was risking that he hear of this initiative from country officials. As was the case in other host countries, the ambassador in country was told by the CIA not to speak with any other State Department official about the arrangement. Prior to the opening of the CIA detention facility in country, CTC legal warned of possible legal actions against CIA employees in countries that take different views of detention and interrogation practices employed by the CIA. He further recommended against the establishment of CIA facilities in countries that redacted. Some of the advice was heeded, and in December of 2002, the two individuals then being detained by the CIA in country, Abu Zubaydah and Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri, were transferred to country. The agreement to host a CIA facility in country created multiple ongoing difficulties between country and the CIA. Countries redacted proposed a written memorandum of understanding covering the relative roles and responsibilities of the CIA and redacted, which the CIA ultimately refused to sign. 4 months after the detention site began hosting CIA detainees, country rejected the transfer of redacted, which included Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. The decision was reversed only after the U.S. ambassador intervened with the political leaderships of country and on the CIA's behalf. The following month, the CIA provided redacted million to country redacted, after which redacted officials speaking for redacted and the country political leadership indicated that the country was now flexible with regard to the number of CIA detainees at the facility and when the facility would eventually close. The facility, which was described by the CIA as overcapacity, was nonetheless closed, as had been previously agreed and redacted the fall of 2003. According to CIA cables, years later, redacted officials in country reacted with deep shock and regrets. All this is pretty much redacted, which they acknowledged was redacted. The country officials were extremely upset at the CIA's inability to keep secrets and were deeply disappointed in not having more warning of President Bush's September 2006 public acknowledgement of the CIA program. The CIA station, for its part, described redacted as a serious blow to the bilateral relationship. The detention and interrogation of Ramzi bin al-Shibh provides information while in foreign government custody prior to rendition to CIA custody. As early as September 15, 2001, Ramzi bin al-Shibh was assessed by the CIA to be a facilitator for the September 11, 2001 attacks and associate of the 9/11 hijackers. While targeting another terrorist, Hassan Gul, Pakistani officials unexpectedly captured bin al-Shibh during raids in Pakistan on September 11, 2002. On September, well, that doesn't make sense. Okay. So is it 2001 or 2002? So I guess a year later. On September redacted 2002, bin al-Shibh was rendered to a foreign government, redacted. Approximately 5 months later, in February 2003, bin al-Shibh was rendered from the custody of redacted to CIA custody, becoming the 41st CIA detainee. As with Abu Zubaydah and Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri, personnel at CIA headquarters, often in Alex Station, overestimated the information bin al-Shibh would have access to within al-Qaeda, writing that bin al-Shibh likely has critical information on upcoming attacks and locations of senior al-Qaeda operatives. Later, after bin al-Shibh was interrogated using the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques for an estimated 34 days, the CIA's Alex Station concluded that bin al-Shibh was not a senior member of al-Qaeda and was not in a position to know details about al-Qaeda's plans for future attacks. In another parallel, officers at CIA headquarters requested and directed the continued use of CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against bin al-Shibh when CIA detention site personnel recommended ending such measures. And see, I think that John Kiriakou, I think he said he worked with Alex Station, which was basically like the Osama bin Laden desk or something like that. I think that's what he said. I've listened to him on several different podcasts, so I believe that's what he said. He's a very fascinating character too, but he was kind of the whistleblower for telling on this enhanced interrogation stuff, and he's like, "No, that's a torture program." So anyway, let's go on. So Ramzi bin al-Shibh was initially interrogated by a foreign government, while officers at CIA headquarters were dissatisfied with the intelligence production from his 5 months of detention in foreign government custody. CIA officers at that country were satisfied with bin al-Shibh's reporting. Those CIA officers wrote that bin al-Shibh had provided information used in approximately 50 CIA intelligence reports, including information on potential future threats to include a potential attack on London's Heathrow Airport and al-Nashiri's planning for potential operations in the Arabian Peninsula. The CIA officers redacted in country also noted that they found bin al-Shibh's information to be generally accurate and that they found few cases where he openly, clearly misstated facts. In a cable to CIA headquarters, the CIA officer in country, redacted the country where Ramzi bin al-Shibh was being held, concluded overall he provided what was needed. The same cable stated that bin al-Shibh's interrogation was similar to other interrogations they had participated in, and that the most effective interrogation tool was having information available to confront him when he tried to mislead or provide incomplete information. Personnel at CIA headquarters concluded in 2005 that the most significant intelligence derived from bin al-Shibh was obtained during his detention in foreign government custody, which was prior to his rendition to CIA custody and the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. Interrogation plans for Ramzi bin al-Shibh proposes immediate use of nudity and shackling with hands above the head. Plan becomes template for future detainees. Despite the aforementioned assessments from CIA officers and redacted concerning bin al-Shibh's cooperation, officers at CIA headquarters decided the CIA should obtain redacted custody of bin al-Shibh and render him to detention site Blue in country. On February 2003, in anticipation of bin al-Shibh's arrival, interrogators at the detention site, led by the CIA's chief interrogator, redacted, prepared an interrogation plan for bin al-Shibh. The plan became a template in subsequent requests to CIA headquarters to use the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against other detainees relied upon near identical language. What does that say? Oh, Alec. Okay. All right. So the interrogation plan proposed that immediately following the psychological and mental assessments conducted upon his arrival, bin al-Shibh would be subjected to sensory dislocation. The proposed sensory dislocation included shaving bin al-Shibh's head and face, exposing him to loud noise in a white room with white lights, keeping him unclothed and subjected to uncomfortably cool temperatures, and shackling him hand and foot with arms stretched or outstretched over his head, with his feet firmly on the ground or on the floor and not allowed to support his weight with his arms. Contrary to CIA representations made later to the committee that detainees were always offered the opportunity to cooperate before being subjected to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, the plan stated that bin al-Shibh would be shackled nude with his arms overhead in a cool room prior to any discussion with the interrogators or any assessment of his level of cooperation, according to a cable, only after the interrogators determined that his initial resistance level had been diminished by the conditions, would be questioning and interrogation phase begin. The interrogation phase described in the plan included near constant interrogations, as well as continued sensory deprivation, a liquid diet, and sleep deprivation. In addition, the interrogation plan stated that the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques would be used, including the attention grasp, walling, the facial hold, the facial slap, the abdominal slap, cramped confinement, wall standing, stress positions, sleep deprivation beyond 72 hours, and the waterboard as appropriate to Ben Al-Shib's level of resistance. Based on based on versions of this interrogation plan, at least 6 detainees were stripped and shackled nude, placed in a standing position for sleep deprivation, or subjected to other CIA enhanced interrogation techniques prior to being questioned by an interrogator in 2003. 5 of these detainees were shackled naked in the standing position with their hands above their head immediately after their medical check. These interrogation plans typically made no reference to the information the interrogator sought and why the detainee was believed to possess the information. CIA headquarters urges continued use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques despite interrogators' assessment that Ramzi bin Al-Shib was cooperative. When CIA interrogators at detention site Blue assessed that bin Al-Shib was cooperative and did not have additional knowledge of future attacks, CIA headquarters disagreed and instructed the interrogators to continue using CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, which failed to elicit the information sought by CIA headquarters. On February 11, 2003, interrogators asked CIA headquarters for questions that Alex Station was 85% certain bin Al-Shib will be able to answer in order to verify bin Al-Shib's level of cooperation. The interrogator stated that information from Abu Zubaydah and al-Nashiri suggested that bin Al-Shib would not have been given a new assignment or trusted with significant information, given his high-profile links to the September 11, 2001 attacks. They further stated that bin Al-Shib had achieved substantial notoriety after 11th of September, but was still unproven in Al-Qaeda circles. He may have been privy to information more as a bystander than an active participant. The CIA's Alex Station disagreed with the assessment of the detention site personnel, responding that it did not believe the portrayals of bin Al-Shib offered by Abu Zubaydah and al-Nashiri were accurate, and that CIA headquarters assessed that bin Al-Shib must have actionable information due to his proximity to KSM, and CIA headquarters belief that bin Al-Shib had a history of withholding information from interrogators. Alex Station wrote, as base detention site Blue is well aware, Ramzi had long been deliberately withholding and or providing misleading information to his interrogators in a foreign government. From our optic, it is imperative to focus Ramzi exclusively on 2 issues. What are the next attacks planned for the U.S., and who and where are the operatives inside the United States? The Alex Station cable stated that bin Al-Shib had spent extensive time with KSM, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and must have heard discussion of other targets. The cable added that HQs strongly believes that bin Al-Shib was involved in effort on behalf of KSM to identify and place operatives in the West. The February 13, 2003 cable concluded, we think bin Al-Shib is uniquely positioned to give us much needed critical information to help us thwart large-scale attacks inside the United States. And we want to do our utmost to get it as soon as possible. Good luck. CIA officers at Detention Site Blue, therefore, continued to use the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques against Bin al-Shibh for approximately 3 additional weeks after this exchange, including sleep deprivation, nudity, dietary manipulation, facial holds, attention grasp, abdominal slaps, facial slaps, and walling. Bin al-Shibh did not provide the information sought on operatives inside the United States or large-scale attacks. Information already provided by Ramzi bin al-Shibh in the custody of a foreign government inaccurately attributed to CIA interrogations. Interrogators apply the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques to bin al-Shibh when not addressed as sir and when bin al-Shibh complains of stomach pain. CIA records indicate that the CIA interrogators at Detention Site Blue questioned Ramzi bin al-Shibh were unaware of the intelligence bin al-Shibh had previously provided in foreign government custody, even though redacted and the intelligence from those interrogations had been disseminated by the CIA. On multiple occasions, personnel at the detention site drafted intelligence reports that contained information previously disseminated from interrogations of bin al-Shibh while he was in foreign government custody, under the faulty understanding that bin al-Shibh was providing new information. Wow. Okay, I think I'm going to stop it here, and then maybe I'll record some more of this tomorrow. I've got to work tonight, so I got to go to bed kind of early. I may try to get like those 2 JFK docs recorded and then see what else I could get done. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good afternoon. Bye.